All right, good morning everybody. Hope you're all well. Come here, you. Raiden. I'm out with just him this morning. Believe it or not, this is actually the same place that I was walking late last night. That is quite hard for you guys to see the video of because it was, what, 7:30, but pitch black. Anyway, so I got sent an article by George Glinsky. George Glinsky, he's a reporter, journalist, a sports journalist for Daily Star, The Mirror, The Express, does boxing, MMA, bare knuckle I think he's involved with as well, does a lot, Wales Online. Now, he sent me this article where they've been informed by Malik Scott. Of course, Malik Scott is Deontay Wilder's trainer, which I didn't know that he was Gerald Washington's trainer as well. And I have seen Malik Scott in some recent video footage from Dillian Whyte, where Gerald Washington is in camp with Dillian Whyte, Buddy McGirt, of course Malik Scott is there. So that'd be quite interesting if Dillian Whyte pulled him up and told Malik Scott what a shithouse Wilder is, right? For avoiding him all those years. I really need to get Dillian back on the podcast. Anyway, so within this article, George is saying how Malik Scott has been approached by telephone on a couple of occasions about potentially having Anthony Joshua versus Gerald Washington. Now, no idea when they're talking about it, where, as in, is it going to be in the UK, is it going to be in America? I'd like it to be in America because, as I said before, I'd like to see Anthony Joshua do a bit of globetrotting, because I think that fighters who go abroad and travel around and fight fighters in their own backyard, regardless of their ability and who they are, is all going to add to the experience and makes them a better fighter, makes them a more confident fighter. So I'd like to see Joshua go back to America, take on Gerald Washington, get the win, but not just go in there and blast him out in one round, because I know some people see it as a confidence booster. Not for that. I'd like to see him get some rounds in, because ultimately with, say, Gerald Washington, he's the kind of guy I feel that Anthony Joshua can practice some of the things on. Joshua has had a target on his back ever since he fought Dillian Whyte in only his 15th professional fight. The fight afterwards, he fought Charles Martin, became IBF champion, so that meant he had a target on his back. And of course he fought undefeated dominant Brazil. Again, people didn't really know how good dominant Brazil was. Big guy, strong guy, big puncher, very durable. So not really the kind of guy that you practice stuff on, right? Especially at the kind of stage that Joshua was at back then. I mean, he could have done it, I suppose, with Eric Molina rather than just blast him out. Then, of course, he fought Klitschko, he fought Takam, he fought Parker in the unification and all that kind of stuff. Never really got the opportunity to practice certain things. It was always just go out there and get the win by hook or by crook. Now he didn't have mandatories. Now he's not being told who he has to fight, when he has to fight, what kind of split he has to give them. Now he can fight whoever and practice some of these things. I'm going to presume that Robert Garcia is still going to be in his corner. I'm going to presume, along with Adriel Fernandez and what have you. Now, as far as Gerald Washington, some people will complain, but here's the thing, and of course I've been thinking about it. I mean, if Joshua was champion, then no. Okay, I wouldn't be happy with that fight at all. Much like I wasn't too happy when Wilder fought Washington, even though Washington was undefeated at the time. But at the same time, I do have to say that with Gerald Washington, he is a guy who knocked out Robert Helenius, right? And if it's okay for Wilder to fight Robert Helenius and people giving him a pass, oh, well, you know, he's come off 2 defeats and whatever else, well, so has Anthony Joshua, hasn't he? Oh God. Oh, fucking annoys me, that does. Well, people just let their dogs off the lead like that, dickheads. Yeah, so what was I saying? With Gerald Washington is a guy who knocked out Robert Helenius, right? So if Wilder was okay to fight Robert Helenius after 2 back-to-back defeats, of course they were knockout, Joshua didn't get knocked out, granted, but Joshua was also coming off 2 defeats as well. So him fighting Gerald Washington, if you can give Wilder a pass, then you have to give Joshua a pass, right? And if you're going to give Tyson Fury a pass for fighting a guy who's already defeated twice already, then who are you or anybody to complain about him taking on Gerald Washington? It's better than Chris Arreola, right? But even then, if you fought Chris Arreola, so what? He's entitled to do whatever he wants to do for now. But as I said, I'd like to see him go to America and take on Washington. I really would. Is that likely? No, probably not. I imagine he'd probably have a small fight in the UK. I don't know whether it be like the O2 Arena or a York Hall or a Wembley Arena or whatever. I could imagine it being a stadium fight. There's no need for it. Right now, I think Joshua, over his next few fights, of course he can sell out stadiums, but there's no real need to. Just get back to basics. That's what I'd like to see Joshua doing. Get back to basics. Learn some of the things that he's been practicing. Because obviously you can't do those kind of things when you're fighting Usyk and people like that. So with the Gerald Washington, you can. I don't want to see Joshua go in there. If of course he does fight Washington, I don't want to see him go in there and just blast him out in one round. Good confidence booster, but what you're really gaining from, you're not really gaining anything from it. But again, it is a heavyweight division, and the more time you give your opponent in the ring, there's a real chance you could get knocked out yourself. Heavyweight boxing, anybody can knock out anybody. That's just the rules of heavyweight boxing, right? But anyway, that's the news. So big up to George Glinsky for putting that out there, that Malik Scott has had a couple of phone calls from Team Joshua, I'm going to presume Eddie Hearn, about a potential Anthony Joshua versus Gerald Washington fight. I mean, I'm okay with that, and yeah, okay, Gerald Washington, you know, he's been beaten a couple of times himself. He's a former American football player, isn't he, if I remember rightly? Gone to boxing quite late. I'm going off the top of my head here, because I think a lot of that was going around when he fought Wilder and whatever else. But again, arguably the referee stopped that fight of Wilder a bit too early. Wilder was windmilling him, if you remember, after Wilder was losing that fight to Gerald Washington, by the way. Started windmilling him, weren't even connecting with him, and the referee stepped in. But yeah, Gerald Washington, he ain't a great fighter, that's for sure. He's tough, he's a little bit durable, he's got ability, but Joshua should be well and truly outclassing him. He should, that's what I'm saying. Go to America. Again, you can kind of look at it, because a lot of people say he's got demons, because obviously he went to America, lost to Andy Ruiz Jr. Well, go back to America and get a win then. Then do this a little world tour. Afterwards, go to China, take on Zhilei Zhang, and you know, these kind of ones, or take on Otto Wallin, whatever. Anyway, that's my thoughts. You'll drop me yours. Click thumbs up, and of course subscribe. And I'll catch you next video.